babies.
Aww.
I love that face.
smile.
I love that face.
I wonder what she
Sasha,
looks like.
she's fun. I promise. She's gonna rule the world.
So just let me know when you need her out there for babysitting.
Oh yeah, next week.
She's free. Yep.
Why are you not free?
Going to New York next week.
Wait a minute.
Oh, she can come
Wait a
in.
minute, you're right there.
You can be
go
right
up.
there.
Yeah.
We can do.
You're already going to be in the East Coast.
I mean, we go to fun places. How about this? I have to go to Scotland. If I have a babysitter that goes to Scotland, you get to go. I want to go to Argentina. I could take you with me. I travel to
Japan.
Japan's an option. I go to Miami a lot. Where else do I go? North Carolina a lot. I go to England a
You
lot.
get stopped at the airport a lot.
I mean-
to check your bags, but like it just seems like you're trafficking something. I'm just saying.
I've never been. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. No. My kids are global entry
Got it.
because I don't want to wait in line for them.
Oh yeah, I hear you. You don't want to wait online for them. Sorry. You leave them when you're like, all right, I'll see you on the other
See you
side.
Can someone bring my 5-year-old through the line? Yeah, no, my kids are global entry.
Please tell me you haven't forgotten them from time to time.
Oh no, that's too difficult.
Okay, just want to make sure.
They're too cute.
Because I could see you like on a call, holding your laptop, having like a cup of coffee. Like, so are we closing the deal or not? And just going right through the airport. I was like, oh shit, wait, I lost one.
The last one. Wait. No, I'm too paranoid. I'm like that mom's like, I can't see them.
Were you the harness, like, leash kind of mom?
No.
Okay.
I let them take as much risk as they want.
Got it.
In a boundary setting.
Got it.
Because I'm not paranoid, but I do like to protect them with everything in this world that's going on. I'm not stupid, and I don't want them.
Right.
Like, I have to be realistic.
Don't run with scissors,
right,
kind
like
of shit.
But we'll go to a farm and they'll get dirty and run around the farm, like.
Nobody's buying you clothes if you
Right,
needed to.
but if we're like in a setting like this,
you just let them roam free with all these wonderful.
actually, they might be negotiating. You know what?
Listen, DEF CON's not that bad.
No, DEF CON's not bad, but and people are pretty good in protecting them family-wise here, which is good.
Right.
And that's the nice thing. There is a great kid setting, and I was talking to a goon yesterday
I think we
about
might be
it.
able to find someone who could run traceability to find your child.
Well,
They could hack all the cameras to find.
yeah, that's a valid point.
Like, literally within minutes, they're like, all right, we have all the cameras. This is where they
does
went.
Does anyone know where Tegan is?
Right.
Have we found the
a
blonde-haired
bounty
child?
for finding a blood.
We got
you
Tegan.
know they would find him in a hot
Tegan.
minute.
Oh, guys,
Swarm right in.
there she is. She's doing lock picks and she's winning the battle. Just leave her for a minute. Watch her from here. Don't bother.
Insane. Wait, she's 5?
She's 5. Colin.
If she,
I actually
swear,
want Colin would be the lock pick.
You need to bring that into your house.
I do.
Like
I was thinking I want to go upstairs and get the lock picks. Yeah.
Yo.
Or the village, wherever the village is. I haven't made it over there.
I remember one of the conferences. Somebody had a whole reconnaissance kit, like in the those heavy.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yes, I want to do it for my kids. Get the whole kit for them.
What are you waiting for?
Well, we haven't made it that far.
You gotta
I slept in this morning.
Make a note.
Make a note, all right.
I slept in this morning.
I did.
I got up at 6:30, right? Like
I did get up at 6:30.
I know that's your.
And then I was like, nah, I can't do this yet. I need a timeout. I need a
timeout. Sasha, were you okay with your timeout yesterday?
She had a timeout yesterday.
Look at her biggest smile I've seen
she's
in her
like,
all week.
Best day ever.
Of course, I wake up. There's one Krispy Kreme donut in a bag on the dresser, and I go. Oh, I know Sasha. I'm not playing with it.
Did you get it?
No, wait. So I said I'm not playing with it. I'm not touching it because normally I would, right? Because I'm like nobody claimed it, nobody told me anything about it, but I left it. So I said, oh, I see you got a Krispy Kreme. She goes, yeah, I had 2 yesterday.
What?
Right? And then I go, I'm sure that one's not for me. I'm not kidding you. About a half a second pause. No, you can have it, right? But I'm like, it wasn't intended for me. I can tell it was not intended for me.
It was a thought, but it wasn't a thought.
Right. She, mind you, she did the math. She did billions of calculations in her head.
First of all,
do I give it to my dad and be nice, and then every permutation?
You got a steak dinner last night with creme brulee.
Yes.
She got a donut. I think you win this one.
Sure.
But we're taking her out to dinner tonight.
Okay.
We just haven't told her that yet.
Oh, I did. I told her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I told her.
We're gonna introduce her to Blackjack tonight too.
Blackjack and Jeremy.
And Jeremy. And Joseph.
Maybe not. I wish Sophie was here.
Oh my gosh, Sophie is so much fun.
Yeah.
We love Sophie.
right,
Sophie, we missed
so-
you. Safe travels.
Oh wait, are
we
we
live?
live?
We are live.
Wait, Sasha, are we live?
Oh, yeah, we are.
Wait a minute. Oh shit.
We've been live. We've live.
Hi.
Go ahead, it's PC.
All right.
You
Thanks.
didn't see her count it down?
I don't. Listen. No. Thanks for letting us know.
She did.
Why didn't I hear her?
She did.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, come say
How
hello.
you doing, man? Good. You want to join us for our live broadcast?
Come on
All right,
in.
come on in.
Come on in.
Oh, you're putting me in the middle?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
No, you can keep that on if you want.
You
How's it
want?
going? I'm Mel. There's only room enough for one person, but all right.
Oh, I did not make the CISO thing last night, right?
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I was at it
This
for...
is a tight frame, so we're
So
going
we're
to
like-
literally
we're
be
gonna do
best
like
friends.
this.
Oh, okay,
Don't worry,
no
we're not
worries.
trying to hack you.
Bye.
All right, so we're live streaming this whole week, and we're trying to keep it on the DL because, of course, we're going to get kicked out any minute now.
I don't know if we'll get kicked out. We're in the
Guaranteed.
cafeteria.
I couldn't even walk upstairs in the hallway before.
I mean, that makes
before I got a
sense.
badge. So we're talking about leadership, any kind of leadership. What you've learned that you've taught somebody, managing teams, working on a team that was fantastic, or maybe not so fantastic, and what you've learned. That's it. Tag.
Oh,
you're
hold
it.
on, hold
Or
on.
You want?
Are you doing yours?
There you go. Tag.
Oh,
you're
okay.
it.
Tag, you're it.
do
You
you
can
want me to
text
hold it
me
like
now.
this?
Yeah, just that's it. We're
Yeah.
live, brother. We're live
So-
right now. The world is seeing you. Millions of followers.
Millions of
I mean, that's the dream.
Don't fuck it up.
So I'm pretty new to leadership, especially in security, but I've been in security my entire career. And the main thing that I talked to you about was knowing what you don't know. There's so many things that you have to be able to just
Yes.
work with the people around you, especially if you're one of the very few security people. You got to learn that other people are very good about making sure that you could go to like your other teammates that aren't in security but have that security knowledge, and like making sure you Google everything, but not being confident in your answers, but making sure you're not second guessing, but making sure you're checking everything, you're backing it up, and having
Not
a lot
being
of the
afraid
research.
to ask questions.
Ask all the
That's
so
half
many
of it.
different questions.
Right? Ask the question. I'd rather you ask it than not ask it and seem silly and stupid, right?
Okay to say I don't know.
Exactly, and the main thing too is like there's so many people in our industry that we're all having this very collective mindset of like we want to help each other as much as we can, and it's the most warm and welcoming people that are the most hard-nosed and technical people because we have so much on our shoulders. It's
Yes,
incredible,
yes.
an awesome community. I've loved it. Especially this guy's, he's one of my mentors, but
Oh, we've got a mentor at the
He's
table.
like
He's
next.
next.
Whether you
He's
like-
next. He doesn't
Yeah,
know
we're gonna
it.
just turn
Yeah.
the camera if he doesn't move. No, kidding.
We can give you a mic. You could be the man behind the screen.
you can be.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Like one of my first big boy jobs, and we had just gotten back from COVID, and he was the one to show me around the building, and we were like, yeah, it was pretty awesome, but also taught me a lot about security.
I'm like having like a moment here. Where are the fucking tissues? Where?
Oh, right here, right in
So
front of you.
many
You got this. Get it. You're going for the napkins.
Literally a whole box. So
I mean,
we
we're
did this
covered.
right.
Yeah.
We found the right table. It wasn't as clean when we started, but it's much better than it was.
Not too bad, not too bad.
So what else? What else are you looking for from today, tomorrow, and Sunday?
Just in DEF CON or just learning?
we're in DEF CON
We know we
today.
just
We're not
finished
into other
finished the
bullshit.
networking. Now we're into the learning. What are you looking to hit?
I'm learned that now that I'm in leadership, right, and now that I've gotten a little bit more talking to the C-suites, I'm learned that how do I stay on bleeding edge, or what's like in the actual technical know. So there's so much insecurity that it's hard to prioritize what you need to prioritize. So that's what I'm trying to figure are other people in the offensive team mindset, even the blue team mindset? What are they prioritizing? That's what I'm trying to go
We have
to.
oversight too right now, like a few people, one person, a couple teams. What do you?
Just like one team. Right
All
now.
right.
Yeah, very
So
small.
I'm gonna drop a nugget on you because this happened to me a lot, and I kept getting shit for going to conferences. Like, what are you bringing back? What are you bringing back? And I'm like, okay, here's what I brought back. I would collect, based on the topics that I was interested in, all the vendors and all the knowledge, and then you know what I would do? I would give it to the team, and I would say, can we use any of this? Let's talk about it. And then like on a Friday, we just have a session, and this is being the purposeful like mindset of saying, we need a break. We're going to talk about any of these tools, anything you want to use, whether it's open source or not, and then kind of move from there. So what are you looking for in general topic-wise that you want to learn for yourself and or for your teams?
Topic-wise, man, anything
So
when it comes to
many.
like API hacking.
Oh, that's
where
a
we
good
have
one
to-
right now.
Yeah, API
Yes,
hacking
yep.
and AppSec are some of the specific ones, but not ones that. It's like no vendors that I like specifically am looking at right now, but
Someone
just
that's
how to
got the knowledge
how to
and how to
how to
do it.
harden the baseline is
Yeah.
one of the
Literally,
main things.
started conversations like that.
Yep.
You know, what are you using in open source? What do you got? You know, and then that way you can start collecting that information. So it doesn't have to be a vendor. And then you bring that back to the team. Hey, are we using 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Why not? Let's figure out if it helps us, it improves us, and then literally just have a hackathon or do whatever you can just to bring those things in immediately so that management sees, oh, that's why we spent so much damn money sending you over here, and then you just go with the role. But let the team choose. That's the biggest part.
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, and on top of the topics you're going after, because those are not small potatoes, and getting even management and other C-suites to understand that concept of what AppSec is and what API security is. Because, right, they think of it, how many developers create so many backdoors through API security, and they're not thinking of it, they're thinking, I gotta get data from point A to point B because the business leaders told me to get it done, and that's my priority. What are you going back to them and saying why? What's the need? What's the purpose? Like, because that's one of the challenges I even have as a leader is it's always what's the why, what's the what, and how do I convince them? And I shouldn't say convince them, but it really is convince them that this is a priority they have to remember too.
So I always started. Who am I speaking to? So if it's like a CFO, it's all in dollars.
All in dollars.
So-
Always is.
Making
Great,
sure that I
great.
talk in dollars. It's like this is the
Revenue
risk, but
generating.
this might be what the risk is to me. Like it's a qualified risk, but to you, I know this is a quantified risk. This is what it actually looks like.
Great.
Who are you?
Whoa, what a
Look like you're 13.
We definitely.
Hey,
hold on, I feel like the mentor just needs to say hello right now. Like, wow, that is. You don't get too many people that understand this.
Here, I'll actually tell you a story. Somebody
Yeah.
knocked on my door and they said, "Hey, can I talk to your parents?"
No, they did
I'm
not.
not even kidding. I have 2 kids.
Me too. That.
He
Someone
does
said
look like he's 13.
so you've been ID'd all week? But
Yeah.
so this is your mentor, right?
Yeah, this is one of my mentors, Chris.
That,
me and we've
honestly,
been best
is
buds
like-
for a bit.
That's great. Like hearing you say that, because that's one of the big things I do. I actually come from an accounting background. I say I'm an accidental security person that got stuck with duct tape and glue to the wall and can't seem to get away with it. I'm in love, let's be honest. And so I say that to people, how do we create security as a revenue generating tool? How do you speak to the business in dollars and cents for them to understand it in a revenue, cost effectiveness, but also to grow security?
So for me, it's trying to get the leadership, the C-suite, to understand that security and IT in general is not a cost. It's not a cost bucket where you're losing money. It's how we're going to make money. You got to
Yes.
put money into IT. You got to put money into security in order to generate more revenue.
Yes.
Right? If you put $1 million into our cybersecurity program, get us trained up, get us all the tools we need, get us all the people we need, and fund us properly and staff us properly, we can help you generate more income. We can, as opposed to getting hacked, getting malware, getting all these getting pinged and bad press and bad publicity, and now you got to pay out ransoms and all these other things. It's cheaper in the long run
To spend the money up front and do it
spend
right.
it properly and not to be in such a rush. don't be in a hurry to put that new product out. Don't be in such a hurry to put the new feature out without regression testing, without testing it properly, without finding CrowdStrike, right?
Did I say that out loud? My bad.
It's Voldemort. We call it Voldemort these days.
They who must not be named. Take the extra
Have you seen
2 weeks.
the
Don't,
stickers going around?
Oh yeah,
The
I survived.
99.6%
Oh, and then,
availability.
Oh yeah.
well, and then it's the I survived July 19th. Have you seen that one
Yeah,
yet?
July 19th.
There was one. Don't forget to shut your machine down before
Before you go to
midnight,
bed.
July
I mean,
19th.
I guess this is going to be one of those lessons that none of us ever turn our computers off. Well, now we will be.
Well, yeah, my laptop stays on 24/7, and now not so much.
I said that to someone. I said, "Why did my computer not get impacted for one of my clients?" He goes, "Well, if your computer was off," and I was like sitting there saying, "Did I actually turn my computer off? I never. It's always open. It's always on." I was flying, and my computer was off.
Okay.
It happened to be the one. I was safe because I got in at like 1:30 in the morning. So by the time I landed, my computer was off till the next morning. So I missed the.
You were safe. Yeah, mine. I actually was finishing up Thursday night working, and it said reboot now. I'm like, yeah, sure, reboot now. Because I'm a good security guy. I install all my updates. I reboot.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, reboot, and then I walked away, and then came back Friday morning, and I was.
So I have a question, and Mel and I have been talking about like how we're gonna lead off on this. But you're a technologist, which I like. Planting this. I don't know if you'll know this. I know you're 13.
Yeah.
People, whether
we're quote compliant.
Are we
but
live again?
We are back.
This is actually a good conversation we're having, so we'll just keep going. I don't know where we left off, but we're going to continue. But yeah, you said
We left off with me
Stockton
apparently
and
not.
Enron.
Apparently, I don't know what Enron is.
You're
We're learning.
13.
Oh, that's true. He's 13. We just educated him on Enron from the 2000s.
Oh, I've been updated.
He saw
Grew up in my
he saw the movie Dick and Jane once. So
He saw Dick and
he saw
Jane.
Fun with Dick and Jane once. So
At the end of the movie, they said the word Enron, so I had an idea.
No, and to the audience,
Mel's crying again, but for a completely different reason.
So to the audience, we're not trying to create controversy, but we're trying to sit there and say is, are you really testing your environment properly to give it like a third-party vendor management tool that is good for companies, right? Everyone says, oh, I'm a SOC 2. Well, is it really good now? Like, and that for everyone, we were just talking about it. I was there when it was, why it came around. What the purpose originally for it was great. Now, what's the purpose of it now? You said you're compliance heavy.
Now it's literally just a piece of paper to show vendors or potential clients, hey, we're SOC 2, we're safe, you can trust us.
Yeah.
But when I get to pick the scope, what's in scope, what's not, what's out of scope, what gets tested, what doesn't get tested, I can shape that any way I want. Now, and we were off when I said it, but I'm going to say it again. You can be compliant and not secure.
So true.
Compliance
it is so
not
true.
security, and so I'm fighting that battle with my company now. They're like, check the box, check the box. I'm like, okay, we can check the box. That's part of it, but we really got to go back and relook at
No,
all
you
of
have
our,
to do it properly.
all of our policies have to make sense from a risk perspective, from a security perspective.
Well, it's not, and you don't want to like, I get it. A lot of people did policies out of the box. They don't have a real environment. But is it really your environment at the end of the day? Is it really defining like what you need for your business to be successful? Or is it just saying, yeah, here's some words on a paper, go away?
Well, and so many people, trust their data or their processes now to managed service providers. They're outsourcing,
and that's the
they're just like, hey,
biggest risk.
show me the SOC 2, and they show them the SOC 2.
And they don't look at
I
it,
think
they
MGM
don't-
Grand had a SOC. Their managed service provider had a SOC 2 last fall. They got
Hacked.
destroyed.
Destroyed.
That's my favorite thing to do with breaches now is to look up the company and then look up what frameworks or certifications or compliance they have.
Yeah, to
and
see-
say like, okay, we have this glowing list of things that say that we're secure, but
It says you're secure, but it's also segmented. I can't say the word today because I'm literally out of it. But it's a specific scope. So not only do you get to SOC 2 you define, but you have a specific scope. So like you can be PCI compliant, but that's only the PCI box.
Yeah.
You can be FedRAMP compliant, but that's only FedRAMP. You could be SOC 2, that's going to be a piece of whatever piece of the product that they want to look at, right? So in essence, do you ever truly see the full environment?
We do. I work for a global company. We have offices, and so we have to worry about like GDPR and all these
all of the
other
different-
international. Australia's got APRA and all these other regulations, right? And we end up being so focused on compliance with these
Forget about security.
acts, and you're like, okay, we're compliant, but are we secure? And that's where you have to sit down with your C-suites and say, look, we are not just a cost bucket. If you put the proper resources to it, we can really make you not only secure, but we can let you fly farther and faster in the long run.
When I run my own business now, helping companies implement solutions, right? Compliance and security solutions. And I always like to work with the teams to implement the right solution. I'm not driving a check-the-box activity. It's not how I run, but I just ran Silence's compliance requirements before they were bought by BlackBerry, even afterwards for a little bit. And I worked hand in foot with the security team. So if we needed something, I went to them and said, what are we going to do to implement this? Right? I have to get this done. How as a team we're going to do it? I'm not going to how do we do this properly and go and message that up? Because, right, if anything, I should be driving it to help you guys be secure, right? It should be a team effort because I have the driver. I have the keys. Now, how do we get the engine going to be the right way to do this, right? And that's the way it's always been beneficial because then you get more of a voice. at the table. And that's never been the way I like to do it, but when you know the audience, you know what needs to be done. Well, why not work as a team to figure out how to drive the right message to get the right situation so you can be secure? Because that is the number one priority.
Well, and I like what Derek said earlier, when he said, depends on who my audience is. If I'm talking to the CFO, I'm talking dollars and cents. If I'm talking to the CTO, we're talking the tech behind it and how we're going to implement it. And if I'm talking to my chief risk officer or my chief legal officer,
or just an engineer,
You're talking about law.
just a software engineer. If you're talking to a software engineer, it's how can I save you time? How can I give you more bandwidth?
Well, and I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but we could definitely talk about it. I saved the engineers time by building it into their role. So instead of it being an extra role, it was built into it, and I worked with them to automate. Like, what is it we can do to build this into your role so you're getting credit for it versus like figuring out how to do it last minute. So let's build it into the role, make it really something that's truly part of your day job, but then you own it and you get to define it. And when they have that ownership, it's amazing what sales engineers will do with it.
One of my favorite parts of security is building the security program for the company and the security culture. And building that from the ground up, it's showing that it's not just me, y'all. It's how can we all collaborate together. But I love the word security engagement because it's really about how can we collaborate together and then just build this so that it's like security minded first, so that you don't need to always come to me for making some of those decisions. It's part of your role, like you were
saying. What do you guys think of the topic of changing security and being more digital transformation? It's a different way of thinking. So security is part of it, but digital transformation. So now you're almost all encompassing. So data security or data, talking about the element that really matters. It's the data we're all. So it's digital transformation instead of just security. So now you have to it's going to all of a sudden plug into the CFO or the CTO. It's a different way of the lawyers who are only worried about data. They're not worried about what it takes to get there. They just want to know the HIPAA data is not getting.
How many times have we heard about privacy during
privacy?
PII privacy. There's so much.
Your data, we can secure your data or keep your data from getting out. Data loss prevention, all that. Look,
you don't want to lose the concept of security, but you know what I mean.
Right.
How do you? I'm just asking because we've been playing around with that word a little bit and seeing
digital
how transformation or data, focusing more in a data way to get people to be more bigger instead of just FedRAMP or PCI or HIPAA.
Right, and I think those of us who are in the industry, we're doing it. And what's hard is getting the lawyers, right? In my position, we report to the chief legal officer.
Yeah.
It's, legal, security, and privacy. Somehow cybersecurity got mixed up with that.
Yeah.
And, okay, I get it because they're concerned about privacy and customers' data for what we do. But at the same time, he's not technical at all. So it's, you're trying to explain, and it's like talking to a 3-year-old. You have to explain it in small chunks and very easy to understand. Pretend I'm talking to, and this guy's really smart. He's a lawyer, but he's really dumb when it gets, who's watching this?
I would just say it's all context, right?
Right.
We're the SMEs behind security, and that's what helps us drive it.
You have to put it in terms that they understand.
It's true, but it's both ways. I have technologists that have a really hard time understanding the compliance aspect. Why do I have to present it this way? Why do I have to show it this way? It's doing what it's supposed to do. Why do I have to show you that it's been there for 12 months? Why do I have to prove it out? Right? It's that concept of having. So it's kind of both sides. You almost need that middle person. It sounds like that's what you guys do as well, to interpret. And
we're basically just translators.
That's what I was going to say. Be bilingual in the multiple languages: business, IT, security.
So the movie Office Space.
Yes.
I talk to the engineers. I'm a people person. I take the specs, and then I take it to the other guys, and then I take it from the sales guys, and take it to the. And a lot of times, that's what I feel my job is. I'm the middle guy, and I'm trying to do the translation from the business to the tech side, and vice versa, right? And that way, the app dev guys aren't having to talk to the business side.
I mean, you said it right from the beginning. The CFO, you dollars and cents. But it's true, though. What are they worried about? They're worried about cost. and they're worried about revenue because they have to go back to the shareholders, the boards, the investors, the banks, right? Nobody thinks about like what does it take to keep running a company and making sure you have payroll, right? I remember talking to somebody, I'm a CEO of a company. What is my biggest fear some days? Do I have enough money to have payroll? Right? Like when I started out, it's like, all right, how am I going to make sure there's payroll? And that's the CFO's worry every day is so, all right, well, if we spend this much more, where's the balance? Where's the reasoning? What's the behind? And it's interesting when you start looking at from their perspective and your perspective, and you sit there and say, all right, well, how do we create this as a revenue generating tool to get them to understand it's actually going to benefit them long term?
I think what really benefits is the risk register when you do create that, making sure that like, hey, okay, these are the critical things. And like, let me make sure that it's in a language that you understand and to simplify it, but make it more evidence that, okay, this does apply to you and your team, but let me show you how we can take it off your plate right now.
Yeah.
Or how we can accept the risk and just move on with our lives. Because that's a lot of the time, some security people want to just cover everything, but you have to have those buckets of things that you can't focus
There's some
on everything.
vulnerabilities that are high that you don't have to touch because you can't get to.
Yeah, I think, picking and choosing the battles, right? Like, is this the hill I'm willing to die on? Is this really what I'm gonna? Do I want to spend my political capital or my career capital and go toe to toe with the CTO or the CFO on this, or is this something that we can probably accept this risk and then you type it up real nice and you slide it to me. You signed this saying you accept the risk. This is on you, by the way.
I'm just imagining the negotiation tag, like the career. Like, hey, there's the number I got. Here's the risk.
Paper slide it across the table.
It's so dumb.
The old move.
I've never done that, man.
I mean, it protects you because now you pull that up and you sit there and say, but it actually goes back to the point of where everybody's sitting there saying, and this is one of the big things on the December 18th requirement for Sarbanes-Oxley that came out, is you're supposed to identify all your risks in regards to security. So, which most people are not talking about. There's 3 key elements. One, it was the 8K filings. It was the vendor management piece, and it was a risk register had to be done. So now, like, it is big. It's big everywhere. I mean, it's supposed to. ISO requires a risk register. FedRep requires it. SOC 2 requires it, but it's never been tied to the financial statements the way December 18th made it tied to the financial statements. But a lot of people don't talk that way. They only talk really about the 8K filing because that's the big thing. I have to file to investors.
Yeah, it's the landscape changes so quickly. The things that you have to worry about or not worry about that really. Like, I know Derek is like, you were the first cyber security hire at your company. Yeah. My company, we have a small team, but it's not probably as big as it could be or should be. And so we're
lean.
Yeah, and everyone's working lean, right? And so you're putting out fires, and the new regulations are coming out, and new deadlines.
Yep.
And so you're scrambling, and so the risk register, if you didn't already have one, is something you're trying to put together. And that's, I was talking to a friend, and they were working on putting their risk register together, and suddenly they're just shining lights on problems that a couple people knew they had, but now they're actually having to write them down. They're like, oh yeah, I knew about that. Well, now it's on paper, and now it's getting presented to boards. And before they were able to sweep it under the rug, but now they can't, and so their C-suites are, why is this a problem?
Right.
Well, I tried telling you about it 2 years ago, but
you did nothing about it.
It was too expensive, or it was too long of a process, or we had other priorities, and it kept getting pushed to the back burner. Now it's written down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
accountability changes when it gets written down.
And that's why I write it all down and I put it in the email. I mean, I kind of joke about sliding the note across the table, but I type in an email. This is the risk, and if you want to accept the risk, great. Reply to this email saying you're accepting the risk. It's on you. It was explained to you, and that way, when things go sideways later, it's
is that our version of the NDA?
It's just a version of CYA, right? It's like,
I just learned about a company that made lawyers sign a BAA, and we were all like, that is kind of really cool to make lawyers sign a BAA.
Wow.
Like, yeah, they like, make them just as accountable as everyone else.
Well, I think the accountability needs to be shared, right?
You coming back over, Mel?
Yeah, do you want me to switch out?
I wanted to make sure that was on camera.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, come on.
Straight in the nose.
We're having a great conversation over here. You should come join us.
I would love to. What do you want me to sit on your lap?
I mean,
No,
you
you
should
come back
climb-
in.
Oh, I
You
can
should
move.
climb over the top.
I don't think the young lady that's behind us would appreciate having my backside right next to her.
I mean, we probably could talk about this all day, but this has been amazing. Thank you guys
Absolutely,
so much.
yeah.
We're doing recons after this, and we might have to pull you in for some good conversation afterwards. Like
Yeah.
over the next 2 weeks, because there's a lot of great topics, especially to find out what you guys learn here, because we're going to be hopping around soon too, doing the nerding out part of this.
Trying to
Oh,
hit
that's
all
the best part of DEF CON is finding all the nerds.
Well, it's
just
right.
when I hear the word risk assessment, my ears perk up. It's so weird that what people are talking about this.
Well, it's interesting because there's like 3 people at my company that can talk about this, but when you're here and there's 50,000 people and you're hearing all the conversations around you, and they're all having the same conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, the
right?
smile, right? You're just like, oh my gosh, you're on the same level. What are you doing? How are you handling?
All right, you know what I hear? You know what happens to me when I hear risk assessment? I cringe up. I'm off camera on purpose so you can't see what cringed up. But folks, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'm actually gonna
you.
take
We'll be
this
in
interview
touch.
from this side, and we're gonna have Andrew Hornback join us right on the hot seat.
Just as long as you don't walk away with the phone again.
Well, I can't even hear it so damn
I
loud in
said
here.
just as long. It was a great meeting. We'll be in touch. This was great. Ah, man. Come on over.
All right, come on,
Who's
Andrew.
calling
You're in the
now?
hot seat.
A village research.
This is
Oh.
decades in the making.
So I gotta ask, how far back are we going?
As far back as you want, just keep it clean.
Oh, that's no fun.
I'm just saying. I'm going to treat this like an NSA. I'm going to treat this like an NSA interrogation because I have the equipment now in front of me because you just brought the equipment. So first of all, this is okay. This is I don't.
Sure.
Okay, so to flip it over and just.
I feel like I've got
this
to go
is-
get my locks now.
So all right. So let's get.
This is something I would give my son to see if he can break.
It's definitely breakable, but it's also easily fixable.
Well, my son likes to dismantle things and see what it looks like inside.
Okay.
He's 7.
So I was like that.
This would be like, so I was telling Mel this. We were chuckling at the beginning of this, and like I actually can't wait to take my son to this, and my daughter. But my son's a little older, so he's like ready. At 12 months old, he dismantled like the shoe rack, and us idiots kept putting it back together, and he kept dismantling it. So we finally gave up and put it in the closet, right? Because we were like, it's not time to like teach him how to re-put it back together. Then he dismantled the remotes, so I have no remotes in my house anymore. They're all apps on my phone because it was just easier.
Oh.
Because he would do like a road crew, and once you take it apart, it's done. But then the Hess planes, we have a bunch of Hess trucks and planes,
Right.
and I just like letting the batteries die because they're so loud and obnoxious.
Yes.
And I came downstairs from doing something upstairs, and my son had dismantled the Hess truck to figure out how to put the battery in the thing, so we kept unscrewing all the pieces to find out where the battery belonged.
You know what? I will tell you that
Is it-
when somebody gives
Wall of sheep. Mel, if you get on the wall of sheep, it's totally gonna happen. If someone takes this over and puts a big X on it, it was not me. I think you're amazing. I love you.
I remember that virus.
Enough about the bad rash that you had. So, sorry, I couldn't even hear you over
Why don't you
here.
come sit over here for a second? Switch it up.
Because then I feel trapped.
Well, you have to be trapped.
All right,
I'm
fine.
gonna run and find the next victim.
What'd you say? A large hot latte with soy? That would be awesome. Thank you so
Oh.
much.
Do that if they have soy.
Or any kind of product that yes. All right.
All right, I'll be right
All
back.
right. Take your time. Don't take your time. You got 25 minutes. Go troll.
Go find somebody.
All right.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
So you can feel free to admit and exclude anything, please. I mean
Okay.
that you want. So it's a series on leadership. It's a series on whether it's underwater basket weaving leadership or cybersecurity or compliance or risk. And you said you were going to be here, and I said, so am I. Mm-hmm. And I said, we need to talk about how many years has it been that since we've together?
Well, let's see. And I put in my notice April 1st, 2010.
2010. So 2008, 2009, somewhere around that point.
Right.
So about, let's say 15 years ago, just for shits and giggles. 15 years ago. Oh shit! Wait. Well, I gotta do my math. It's like almost 15 to 17 years, somewhere in that.
You had already left before I did.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I do. I mean I bail easily. Never mind. We'll talk about that one later. And another leadership conversation. So here's the thing, and I hope you don't. Right, you were a logistical master in systems admin and scripting and automation and everything else. And then like out of the blue every now and then, like I see you pop in a conversation or I see you pop in LinkedIn. I'm like, how did you become like a fucking global CISO? I'm like, what just happened here? I'm like, what did I miss in the last 15 years?
Well, part of the explanation there is when I left the organization that we worked together, I went to a company that they basically hired me for a role that I could not succeed in.
Oh shit.
I was the only resource on the East Coast. It was a West Coast-based company.
I hate those folks in the West Coast.
I was doing response. Oh, I can't
They're
go
such
there.
prima donnas.
Yeah, I can't
Especially
go there.
the ones who wear salmon on live streaming interviews. I can't stand those.
Well, we did coordinate today. I don't know how that happened. But the organization that I went to, they ran into a situation where they were moving every office the company owned, and they needed somebody who knew how to move offices. And of course, I had done that. But they wanted me to support their UK operations. They wanted me to support New York in real time. And they also wanted me to manage their organization, some of the research.
Job.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And it got to the point where I had a group out of India that was doing operations, and they would call me every night at midnight Pacific time because the power in the building in San Francisco went out. And of course, I was the first one that got called for everything.
Okay.
And by the time I would hit the VPN and figure out what was going on, everything was back to normal. Until we realized that every time that building hit the trash compactor in the basement, it cut the power to the floor that we were on.
Shaky wires.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
not the shaky wire. I thought I'm thinking brownout. I'm thinking like
Shaky wires that weren't plugged in properly.
It-
what?
Every time it moved,
The
it
fudgesicle.
So that was that organization. Then I did some contract work.
I'm just tired now from hearing that. Because if somebody called me at midnight every night, I would like, okay, y'all need to figure this
So
one out.
I was in New York City at the time. That was midnight Pacific time, which is 3 in the morning. And then of course I had to be up to support the UK office by 5.
So you were living the dream
Not
around
really.
the clock.
Oh, I loved the people that I was working with, but I hated the situation that I was in. But as things moved forward, my career went down different paths. It got to a time where I was working on Wall Street. I was working for a company that did a lot of global supply chain work. Absolutely fabulous organization. We moved into another building after the hurricane hit, and the building we moved into, their engineering space was in the basement, which got flooded when Hurricane Sandy hit. So when we moved back into that space, they had to go through and blueprint the space as far as where all the electric was,
Right.
all the mechanical. So that
Where
was
Hoffa's buried,
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes. And it was just one of those situations where, I was spending 2.5 hours each way getting to work, and I'm like, that doesn't fly very well.
No, thank you.
I ended up in a contract going to work for the state of New Jersey, driving to Trenton every day. It was faster for me to drive 90 miles in each direction to go to work than it was to take public transportation to Wall Street.
That sounds about right.
My time at the state I absolutely loved. I went through a couple of different departments, I went through multiple different positions, but while I was there, and really getting to the crux of your question, what you were asking, how did I get into security? Well, I finally figured out what I wanted to do when I grew up.
I'm still doing that. I'm gonna have to get
Same,
some advice from
same.
you.
Yeah, that's why we have
recommend it. I was at that point 24-ish years into my career, and I figured it out.
Who's that?
The one, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
The one you just bumped off the
No,
seat so
I
that you
asked-
could sit there?
I asked her if I could do this.
Yeah.
She was down for it. All right, so you loved
sorry,
it. You found
yeah,
it. State.
Yeah, I was at the state. I figured out what I wanted to do when I grew up. I started my master's degree in information security. I finished that. I got selected to come over to the security operations group for the state. Spent a good amount of time there. Made some really good contacts. Got to see a different side of the world.
Right.
And one of the other things that I did when I was working for the state is maybe somebody else already coined the term, but forensic network engineering.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of things that were built that nobody documented, or the documentation wasn't available for whatever reason. So we'd have to go through and figure out, okay, what's going on? Why is this doing this? And it's a bit of an adventure when you start doing that. Rather than having to build something, it's like, okay, I've got to unwind what's already here. And
Seems to be a
document it.
trend between having to map things and now to unwind things. Yeah, we basically inherited the crap that no one else documented, or lost documentation to, or lost the subject matter expert to, and
Yes.
then we learn how to apply best practices to move forward when we start to unravel the Windows 351. And
It's a matter of, you have to go through and re-engineer what's already there, because the functionality has to be the same.
Right.
The business expects that functionality to exist, but then you got to figure out, okay, how do I do this with modern tools? So it's just a matter of trying to sort that bit of it out.
So you're making the transition in, you're getting exposure, you've got, whether it's networking, whether it's systems, and you're continuing to learn and grow. Are you putting yourself, are you in the teams, or are you managing the teams that are doing these things? Walk us through that.
So at this point in my career, both.
Okay.
I am actually on a team that I used to be a client of.
Okay.
So
they sucked you into that vortex.
Well, I when the opportunity arose, I took it because I knew the quality of the people I was going to be working with.
Okay.
I think
That's
it
special. That's
speaks.
love.
Yes. Great organization, great team, and it's a matter of, at this point, I'm managing on multiple others, but then I'm also a part of this team that we're doing the advisory work. We're doing consulting work for an entire spectrum of clients, and it's like I feel directly responsible for the organizations that I'm working directly with. But at the same time, it's how do we build a better product? How do we go through and make sure that we really are applying security best practices to all of these organizations and all their specific needs?
So true.
Trying to do a cookie cutter security program implementation will get you a cookie and nothing much else.
And a lot of crumbling.
Maybe the moisture runs out.
So
if you're lucky.
there's one question that kept ringing in the back of my head the whole time that the world needs to know.
Okay.
Are you still doing the radio?
Rarely, but yes.
Oh, do tell.
Walk us through the radio.
Okay, so when I was in school at UMass Lowell, which
That's when they were still chiseling on stone.
I still do that. It wasn't that far ago.
All right, these
but
three guys are looking to hack our mics already. I'm like, bro,
hack the mics,
we're just trying to
guys.
highlight some people. Don't hack us.
So it was a matter of
They've already taken over. You just don't know
Literally,
it.
yeah.
when I was in engineering school, and then I was working on a degree in physics, and things just weren't exactly going the best way possible academically. I needed something to do because I'm not from that area, and I had it was a 12-hour drive to go home to go see anybody. So I got involved in the radio station. And I remember very clearly, I walked in there one day, just, I was listening to what was going on, and I met my mentor, who I absolutely adore. John is the greatest. He's in the Blues Music Hall of Fame out of Memphis at this point. But he taught me how to do a show, how to do it properly,
Right.
how to do an interview,
Nice.
all of these different things. And I still try to be connected up there. There was a time when I was driving up once a month to go do a radio show, and there were times that I would drive from New York to Boston area and back the same day just to get 3 hours on the air.
Wow.
Well,
That's
if you
amazing.
ever need a new colleague in Boston to say hi to,
Right here.
Okay.
right there.
I'm in the Burlington Hood.
Okay.
The Burlington Hood.
Oh dear.
I'm just gonna leave that one alone. I'm just
I
too
mean,
much.
come on, all of the lingo I've got
I
going
did,
on
yep,
this week.
ma'am. Please, let's not repeat it.
We're not repeating
I've
any.
already cursed 3 times during this broadcast. Look, things that we're gonna get canceled out there if we
The
repeat.
thing
Yeah,
Jenny
that you
says that
say.
she
Yeah,
doesn't realize
yeah,
she says.
As long as the censors don't.
SSS.
There's nothing bad about what I say. It's just the innuendos that I don't realize I'm saying.
So it's
Until I say it, and I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. That's not what I meant. But at that point, the jokes have already rolled from everybody else.
Of course.
It's S cubed. Shit Shannon says.
I'm just
It's
saying.
been my thing all through college and life.
Yeah, well, you book, all right? Appreciate what not to say sometimes.
I mean, lessons learned. Well, what to say and just roll with it.
That's
Roll
true.
with it.
Right there. So, walk us. So you're not doing that as often.
Right.
Are you looking to rekindle that in a local space or kind of make connections?
Back during COVID, one of the things that we did is we set up the capability that I could do the show remotely.
Okay.
So I did really love the fact that I had a hardware failure that ended the show prematurely. I was running an older Dell system. Nothing against Dell, but the system would run. I think it was 3.5 hours, and it would overheat.
Okay.
And I would get to the point in the show where I'm like 15 minutes, and it's like, fingers are crossed, we're gonna make it through, and then all of a sudden, dunzo, blue screen, and all over with. So
I'm surprised you didn't gut it out and start putting liquid coolant, parts in
We talked
there.
about before you joined
Yeah.
us how we like to dismantle stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about that, I'll tell you about the machine that I put in my recording studio to replace my Mac Pro that I had for 10 years.
Well, but that one offline
That will be a next
because
week conversation.
we were just talking for about 20 minutes on all the other pieces. So, what do you tell folks who are early, mid, or late career? Because the reason I brought up the radio piece is it's part of you, right? It's a passion. It's something that you do that may or may not get you out of your headspace when you're, whether it's systems or networking or cybersecurity. What do you tell folks on interest, like how to find stuff and how to start that? Because a lot of people are just all in on learning and hacking. But what about the other side of life?
There comes a time when you have to look at what it is that you're doing, how much energy you're putting into it, and realize that, okay, are you going to let your career choice define you?
So true.
And that's one of the things that I'm in the process of right now, because after I finished my master's, I got pulled into the PhD program. I started going through that. COVID hit. Things were just, not the greatest. And I tried to get back to it, and it's like, I have to do something different. So I announced earlier this year, I had to announce it publicly in order for me to really understand that this is what I'm doing, that I'm parking my doctoral dissertation for now. Parking it.
But that's a great point there. It's okay to pause. And we talked about that earlier in this week when we said, what is it we do as leadership? And I said earlier this week when Mel asked me the question, I always have my teams as well as myself. What's my personal, professional, and financial goals? I write them down. I can take a left turn at any point in time and realign them, restart it. I can always come back. So I love the fact that you said park it, because it's not a failure. It's a pause to see where you want to go next.
Well, that's why when I parked that, I needed something to occupy that part of my headspace, because I've got all these cycles that are just not being used, and when I'm in that situation, it's not a great situation. So I went through, I got into the artificial intelligence and machine learning program at the University of Texas.
Sounds like a boring thing to go into.
Let's put it this way. In the first 2 weeks of that course, the amount of Python that we learned was more than I taught myself in 2 years.
Oh, damn.
And it's just a matter of, okay, this is really driving me. I'm really enjoying it.
Back to your roots.
Right. And, if we were going back to my roots, I'd be writing in
Get
Fortran.
hands-on. Okay. All right. Jesus Christ.
Things that Mel say that we should not say. We're both writing a book.
So that set of coursework didn't start until March. Well, the company I worked for got acquired the 1st of February. And there was an unofficial discussion that came down that said, if you're going to get any certifications, you need to do it now.
Right.
So I guess it was Valentine's Day. I decided, I'm going to take the leap, and I signed up to take the CISP exam. And I gave myself 12 days.
12 days.
12 days.
Are you a person I love to hate? I love you because you're brilliant, but I hate you because you can take a test and I can't?
Well, my thing was, so I had initially taken the SSCP.
Yeah.
And the SSCP exam 2022, I completed that in like 45 minutes or so.
All right, this interview's over. This interview's over.
I mean, brilliant.
I had issues going and taking the exam for the CISP. I've been studying for it for decades, it feels like. And I finally forced myself, okay, here's my deadline. I'm going to sit down and do this.
Great.
And that was the driving factor. And of course, I set it up to go take it on a Monday.
Start of the week. Fresh.
And what that did was it gave me that weekend to go through and finish all the curriculum that I'd
You have
set
the
up.
bandana and like the
You got a
war paint
deadline.
on all weekend
Yeah.
to prep for it.
Well, let's put it this way. The Saturday and Sunday before I took the exam, I studied for something on the order of like 26 hours.
Okay.
And I walked into the exam and I did well.
Good
I passed
job.
it.
It's a
Good
pass.
job.
No,
Congrats.
but I don't give a
A
shit.
pass is a pass.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that, when you start looking at doing something, it's wanting to do something is a wish.
Right.
If you want to turn it into a goal, give yourself a timeline.
Amen.
Yes.
have that
Put a
timeline.
date, a real date to it.
Yep.
March towards it, and if it has to move a little bit, but you still have a date.
I just talked to somebody at the bar 2 days ago talking about a goal. I said, "When are you doing it?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "When's
Put
the
a
date?"
date.
She said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, tomorrow morning before you pick up your phone, sit down in your space, think about the importance of what it is, and is it by the end of the week? Is it by the end of the month? Is it so big that it's got to be by the end of the year?" And then set the date. We could talk about Quest for the West and a lot of other things later, which is how I got to the West Coast. I set a date. A couple weeks ago was exactly 4 years that I landed ahead of schedule. So I'm just saying, that's beautiful.
Love it.
All right. I'm surprised we
about
have
time.
not been kicked out of here.
No, I'm
but we
impressed.
definitely got the stank eye from a few folks on
Nah.
because we're using wireless mics.
Right.
I'm like, Sasha, can you just check to see if somebody's not
Has your
jacked
computer
on mics and
been
all of a sudden
compromised?
there's-
You're gonna have to do some incident response on that computer later.
I'm just gonna reformat. I'm like, fuck this.
I was
I'm
gonna
like, yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I brought Ventoy on a couple of USBs for this thing.
And if you comment on this, you could be a potential winner of this.
No. We're not giving that one away.
No.
We're not-
You comment, and then oh my God, Ed,
You
wow.
win. You win. Great
See,
job.
that's how
High
that
fives
works.
around.
Yeah. So this is it.
Yeah.
This
This
is it,
has
Shannon.
been great.
This is I mean, like, this is it. We're done for the week, unless we
well-
have a surprise.
Unless we have a surprise. I mean, we could find those. We have done that.
So, full circle, we've gone through folks we work with now, folks we just met, folks we've been through long ass careers with, and we're day 7 for me, you, right?
Yeah.
We've gone to the gala, Carmen Martian, the cyber security women's gala, which was phenomenal.
Beautiful glamour with security with glamour.
Oh my gosh, brains and glamour, like win-win. We were at Black Hat. I was at B-side. Somebody
I was there.
somebody
I
was
was
on a
there.
113-degree golf course. I'm just saying.
I mean, it was a networking event.
Um,
Networking event, so
They-
connecting.
yeah.
We had to split. We had to split that day. He conquered B-sides. I conquered 18 holes.
Well, I think one of the running themes there, of everybody that you've interviewed, is that that's how you build your network.
Amen.
If you just collect people and don't stay in touch and don't reach out to them.
I live in California. You really don't want to bring up any jokes on serial killers or collecting people. Trust me, it does not go over
all right,
well.
adopt a new family member.
Yes, yeah, but collecting
well.
people, I like that.
Adopting
I think I'm going to call it that so that people don't give me the stink eye. All right, but this is it, and we get to wrap up today with Andrew and Sasha, who this whole time has been watching for the quality of the stream, and she has not been on her
That was
phone
her hand
at
over there.
all.
That was her hand.
She's not been on TikTok or anything.
I was like in the
So,
Get me outta here.
well, so this is it for today,
it? What, we got a
for our official calendar.
And next week and the week after, you're going to see follow-ups,
Yeah.
guys. We got a lot more people to tackle.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to see more of Shannon and I. So get over it.
Get used to it.
Right. Just unfollow us. Stay connected. Just unfollow us. Andrew, thanks again for
It's always good to see you,
being
sir.
awesome. And I will talk to you soon, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. So here we go. This is it. The party's over. I'm sitting in front of a coffee shop the coffee stand for the last
Oh, the line
hour and a
finally went
half.
down now.
An hour and a half. It's like I need to go get some. Any final words there, ma'am?
Let's have some more fun. We got to go nerd out now.
Let's do it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.